Hello everyone, I'm Sofie from Sofie's Fresh Foods and welcome to the virtual wellness festival at the Active Decorum Hub. I'm going to make for you today some energy balls. But before I do that, I thought I'll properly introduce myself, and I also definitely would like to thank the Active Decorum Hub to invite me to this fantastic event. So as I said just before, we're going to make energy balls, and I am Sofie. I'm from Belgium, and in Belgium about 30 years ago, even over 30 years ago I'm afraid, I studied as a dietitian and worked in the hospital for several years. Then I came to England and did lots of other bits and pieces that I'm not gonna go into. But about 6 years ago I decided I want to go back to my real passion and retrained as a nutritionist at the College of Naturopathic Medicine. Since then, I've done cooking demonstrations, I work with a yoga teacher, a jogging group, and a Nordic walking coach, and I also do one-to-one consultations. But enough about me, let's start cooking. So as I mentioned, we are going to do energy balls, and these are all the ingredients that you have here right in front of us, and all these ingredients will be thrown into this food processor to then have the result of these energy balls. While I'm going to make these energy balls, I'm also going to talk about the nutrition of them and nutrition in general. So let's start. The three different subjects that we're going to talk about is fats. The second one is the blood glucose leveling and why it's so important. And the last one are antioxidants. So looking at all these ingredients and starting with the recipe, we are first going to throw some almonds here into the food processor. And while I do that, I thought I'm going to talk to you a little bit about fats. So when you think about fats, there are 4 different types of fats. And I'm going to start with the worst one. So the first one is trans fats. Trans fats are fats that you find in processed foods, so crisps, biscuits, ready meals from the supermarket, and these are fats that get formed through the processing of this food. They are seriously bad fats that are responsible for example, cardiovascular disease, and there's nothing good about them. So my advice is avoid those. So the second group are saturated fats. So the second group, saturated fats. Saturated fats are the fats you find in dairy and meats. Now the interesting bit about saturated fats is that in the dairy, in butter, there's this little fat that is really important for our microbiome. So have a little bit of butter, never go over the top with fats, any fat, but having a little bit of butter will really benefit your gut health. So that are the saturated fats. It is not as bad as we used to think 30 years ago if you really control your portion. That's the second fat. The third fats are the unsaturated fats, which we can divide in 2 groups. The monounsaturated fats and the polyunsaturated fats. The monounsaturated fats are the ones that you find in nuts and seeds, but also in avocado oil, avocado and olive oil. So these are the fats that you find in the Mediterranean diet. I wonder, many of you might have heard about the Mediterranean diet, which is the diet, the healthy diet that is being recommended these days. So a lot of nuts and seeds contain these monounsaturated fats, which will help prevent you having cardiovascular disease and other health issues. Now, the last group of fats are the polyunsaturated fats, and in there is one little fat called omega-3s. Now, this is the holy fat. This is a fat that you find in fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring. So it's really important to have these fats on a regular basis, to eat these fish twice a week, because they bring down your blood pressure, they help with arthritis, they help with joint issues, they help with all inflammatory diseases. they bring blood pressure down, they help sports people. There's a lot of evidence that these omega-3s are just wonderful fats. So try to eat them every day, either via fish or have nuts and seeds like walnuts, chia seeds, the chia seeds, flax seeds and hemp seeds. So that's the fat bit. Let's now keep on cooking. So we're going to grind these almonds in the food processor. This will make a lot of noise, so get ready. Here we go. So to carry on with the recipe, we're going to add some dates to it. So add the dates to the food processor, 150 grams of dates, and I used 100 grams of almonds, but you will get the recipe, so don't worry about that. So 100 grams of almonds with 150 grams of dates. So we add this to the food processor, and again, get ready for the noise. We're going to make sure that this all blends nicely together. Okay, so now we have this mixture of ground almonds and dates. So while I've just done that, I would like to talk to you a little bit about blood glucose balancing. Now, before I do that, I would first talk to you about the importance of glucose. Glucose is the source of our energy. When we live, what the body wants to do is just make lots of energy. And this energy of our body is called ATP. So an ATP is like electricity for a lamp. Our body needs ATP to move, to make massive molecules, hormones, neurotransmitters, to feel healthy. ATP does everything in our body, to repair, to grow. It all is depending on this ATP. So how do we make this? So let's imagine you eat a big bowl of pasta. That gets chopped up in lots of little glucose. It goes into the digestive system. There it gets absorbed into the bloodstream. The heart will pump the glucose through the blood around the body. Then it has to go into the cell, because of course everything happens at cellular level, or a lot anyway. So it has to go into the cell. So we need a key to open this cell. And this key is called insulin. So this is a very simplified Sofie's kind of version. So this key is called insulin. So the insulin opens the cell, and then the glucose goes into the cell. In the cell is a little energy factory called mitochondria. The glucose goes in it, lots of reactions happen, and we have ATP. So it is seriously important to have energy, to have glucose. That's why we eat. That's one of the reasons why we eat. But it's even more important, or as important, that we keep these glucose levels in our blood in a certain range. So this is the top range, this is the bottom range. So the glucose has to stay in a certain range. Now, if we eat this big bowl of pasta, the glucose levels, because pasta is a very refined carbohydrate, the glucose levels will go far too high in your blood. So you start feeling, imagine you go out for lunch, you eat pasta, you feel lethargic in the afternoon. That's the result of having high glucose levels. So what does the body do? The body wants to get rid of the glucose, puts it in the cells, so makes a lot of insulin, far too much insulin. Because it makes far too much insulin, the glucose levels drop below the lower range. Now the body thinks, oh, this is too low, we have to go back to the normal range, because the body is incredibly clever. So the body will then make another hormone called cortisol, which is a little bit of a stress hormone. Now this up and down of insulin and cortisol and the imbalance of it, and the imbalance of these glucose levels, is a real cause of the fact of being overweight, of stress, of inflammatory diseases, like again cardiovascular, arthritis, acne even. You know, there's lots and lots of scientific evidence that's one of the main reasons. So if you want to feel better, make sure that you have your blood glucose levels sorted. How do you do that? Eat lots of food with fiber. You need to eat a lot of fiber, which you find in fruit and vegetables, legumes, porridge, you know, so just eat wholesome foods, full foods, not refined foods or processed foods. So that's my little bit about blood glucose leveling. I hope that all makes sense. And let's now keep on cooking. So, to our mixture of dates and almonds, we're going to add another fat, which is almond butter. It gives a really nice flavor and sticks it nicely together. So we take a big tablespoon of butter, of almond butter. Then to that, we're going to add a tablespoon of coconut oil. Now, coconut oil is a fat. It's a saturated fat. I didn't mention it earlier, but it's a saturated fat, and it's become very trendy in the last few years because veganism is becoming much more popular. Now, it's very good for the vegans, but it's still a saturated fat. There is lots of controversy around coconut oil. But if you ask me, I would only use it a little bit, but that's my personal opinion, a little bit. I would probably not add it to a smoothie in full amounts because you like the flavor of it. I would just use it a little bit so that it adds the flavor, but do not think you actually helping your health by eating a lot of coconut oil. But that's my personal opinion. So you add a spoon of coconut oil to the energy, or to the food processor. Then, what we really like, the fats we really love, as I mentioned before, are the chia seeds, because the chia seeds are an incredible source of omega-3s. So then we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. As I mentioned before, the chia seeds are an incredible source, a good source of omega-3s, this holy fat that we really should try to add to our diet on a daily basis. So add some chia seeds to the food processor, so about 2 tablespoons. And finally, we're going to add some cocoa powder. So cocoa powder is, of course, just wonderful to add because it's got this wonderful chocolatey flavor, which we all love. But it also contains some antioxidants. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder in the food processor. 1, 2. And now I would like to talk to you a little bit about antioxidants. So, antioxidants are the good guys, to keep it, very simple. And the bad guys are the free radicals. So what happens in the body? There's always reactions happening in the body. We get pollution from outside, we get sunshine, smoking, bad foods, just in general, bad reactions that happen naturally in the body. When you do sport, you make a few free radicals. They are the bad guys. But you can actually make sure that these bad guys are neutralized. And they get neutralized, so they have no power anymore, by eating a lot of antioxidants. So antioxidants are very stable molecules. Free radicals are very volatile molecules. They just bump into everything and they want to break things down because they've got 1 electron on their outer ring that is just very, very full of energy and volatile. So what happens now is the good guy, the antioxidant, comes along, and sees a free radical and thinks, oh, here's a free radical, let's make sure that this guy gets neutralized, reacts with it, gives another electron, stabilizes the free radical, and then the antioxidant is really clever. It quickly changes its shape so that it's neutral as well, that it's not active either. So everything then calms down. So the more antioxidants you eat, and you find antioxidants in all the fruit and vegetables. So for example, there's resveratrol in grapes, there's allicin in garlic, there's lycopene in tomatoes, There are anthocyanins in berries. Berries is an amazing, amazing source of antioxidants. So the more and different foods and fruits and vegetables you eat, the more amount of different types of antioxidants you will give to your body. So the better you can attack all those, volatile free radicals. So try to eat as many fruit and vegetables as possible so that you can make sure that everything calms down in the body. There's a lot happening. So another amazing antioxidant I would like to mention is vitamin C. It's an incredible antioxidant, and it does lots of other good stuff like looking after our collagen and making sure that we have a stronger immunity. So vitamin C is a very good antioxidant, and vitamin E, which you find in olive oil and in nuts and seeds. So we've put all the ingredients in the food processor, and we're going to blend it all together. So now you can see it's now become one big mass, but it's still not sticky. So we'd like to make it sticky. So we can either do that with adding just a normal little bit of water, of literally a tablespoon, not a lot, or just a little bit of orange juice. I've squeezed a little bit of orange juice here in my orange press. So I thought chocolate and orange, the combination of those two flavors goes really well. So I'm going to add a little bit of orange juice and see how it all works. Have a look at the food processor. As you can see, it's now all stuck together as one big ball. I hope you can see that. So this is now the base for making our energy balls. So what we do is we take a little bit of the mixture. We roll a very nice energy ball. Then you can add a little bit of desiccated coconut to it, and you have a beautiful energy ball. So that's it. They're really delicious. Put them in the freezer. So I've put all those in the freezer so they're a little bit harder. They keep for a month or so, if not longer. Try not to eat too many of them because they are very delicious. Have one as a snack or after you've gone for a walk, or have a session in the gym. But don't go over the top with them. They are still a treat. So that's what we talked about. So all about fats, blood glucose balancing and antioxidants. If you want to find out more about me, go to my website, which is sofiesfreshfood.co.uk, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's try an energy ball. Here's one. Very nice. Thank you very much.